The Children of Green Knowe, Chapter 4. First, he pulled a chair under the wicker cage so that he could reach up to it. He opened the door, which made a little bird-like squeak as it turned on its hinges. He had nothing else to put in it, so he put the mouse inside and closed the door. He pretended to feed the horse with the sugar and put what was left over of it for the mouse. Then he groomed the horse all over with his hairbrush, particularly its mane and tail, and passed his hands down its legs as he had seen men do in stables, and talked to it all the time. He mounted it and started a long ride, creak-croak, pretending that Toby and Alexander and Lynette had invited him to visit them. "Horses always know the way," he said aloud. "I expect it will take hours and hours." He was cheerfully rocking along, singing at the top of his voice a song his mother used to sing to him before she had died and the stepmother came. "What is your one, oh, green grow the rushes, oh, what is your one, oh, one and one is all alone, and evermore shall be so." Presently he heard a tip-tap at one of the windows, and while he looked in that direction, tap-tap at the window behind him. It was a chaffinch knocking on the glass, for all the world as if he wanted to come in. Toslund dismounted and went over to see. Still it did not fly away, but held on to the crossbars and tried first one pane and then another. "Do you want to come in?" said Tolly, opening the window. At once the bird flew in and perched on the cage. It hopped from one wicker strand to another, giving little excited calls, until it found the door, which was shut. "Chip, chip, chip," it scolded, and fluttered round the room, making little sound of bird footsteps on the wooden floor when it hopped. Toslund opened the cage, and the chaffinch flew straight across the room and into the cage. There it turned round and gave a little song, tried all the perches, hopping round to face both ways on each, swung in the swing, pecked at the sugar, and hopped out again onto Tolly's head. "Don't," said Tolly, shaking it. "I don't like that. I can't see you." The bird flew off to the window sill, looked round at him with a final chirp, and dived into the big nearby tree, level with the window, where it perched and sang quietly. "Oh, come back, do come back, Chaffinch. I wish I had some margarine. Perhaps sugar won't do. I wonder what Lynette used to put into the cage. Chaffinch! Chaffinch!" The bird would not be coaxed, but when he had finished his song, shot off across the water like an arrow and disappeared into a distant tree. The floods had begun to go down. Already Tolly could see spikes of grass sticking up through the edge of the water. The shapes of lawns and flower beds were showing through the ripples around the house. He longed for the water to go so that he could explore the garden. When he came downstairs for lunch, Bogus, in long wading boots, was bringing in logs for the fire, making a big stack of them in the corner of the ingle nook. "Good morning, Mr. Bogus," said Tolly. "Have you come in the boat? I forgot to look last night to see what it was called." "It's called the Lynette, Master Toslund, but I didn't come in it today. I came in my waders. The water's going down lovely." "The Lynette," said Toslund, turning to his great-grandmother. "Yes," she said, "there's always a boat called Lynette on the river." "That's right," said Bogus. "There's always a Lynette. This one's new. Leastways not more than 20 years old. I used to go in the old Lynette when I was a boy, and my grandfather used to talk about fishing at night with torches from the Nanette when he was young. See, Mum, I managed to borrow these from my niece whose boy is in hospital." He held out 2 Wellingtons. "I reckon Master Toslin will need these. Isn't he the first bit with grandfather? Might be the same come back." "Yes, he seems to belong here," said Mrs. Oldknowe. "He has it all hidden in him somewhere. I like to see him finding his way about." "Shall I take him out with me into the barn this afternoon while I cut wood? Keep him out of your way?" "Oh, he's not in my way at all, but I expect he would like to go." "Oh, yes, please." "Very well, Bogus, you can keep him till tea time. Goodbye, Toby." "You said Toby," said Tolly, pulling on his borrowed Wellingtons. "Why, so I did. I was forgetting." Bogus and Toslin paddled off side by side across the drive and turned into a walled yard that was now a walled lake, through which you could see cobbles in the shallow water, all different colours, like pebbles at the seaside. Along 3 sides there were buildings or sheds, very old and tumbled down. The longest had a row of arches, and over them bits of broken stone stuck out of the wall. Inside it was divided into little rooms with scrolled iron doorways opening onto the passage. Some were filled with straw, some with faggots or peat. Some were filled with nothing at all. One was empty, and one had a wall ladder with hand and footholds instead of rungs. Up this Bogus went and through a trap-door above. Tolly followed and found himself in a room rather like his bedroom, but much larger, smelling of hay and sawdust and rich with a soft, musty kind of darkness. There was only one small window covered with cobwebs so that the light came through, and it was like dove grey. Here and there a ray of white light came slanting through a broken roof tile, against which you could see the golden motes of dust in the air. It looked mysterious and enticing. The floor made hollow noises and had holes in it where the boards had rotted. Up here Bogus had a bench and saw, and as he finished a log, he threw the piece through the trapdoor onto the floor below. In one of the little rooms downstairs, Tolly had seen a chair and table, and a blue teapot and a mug. "Do you live here?" he asked. Bogus looked at him with teasing bright blue eyes. "That depends what you call living," he said. "When I'm awake I'm mostly here, but when I go home I mostly sleeps." "How long have you been here?" 55 years. I come when I was 12. But of course I knew it before that because my father worked here, same as me." "What are those little rooms downstairs with park gates instead of doors?" "Stables," said Bogus briefly, out of breath with sawing. Tolly thought of the horses that once lived in such grand rooms. "Were they very special horses?" "Oh, aye, they were fine horses when I was a lad, shining like the sun and dressed up like lords. I never had overcoats like they had. When they were led out, striking sparks on the cobbles with their hoofs and shaking their bridles, oh, they were a proper eyeful. Your grandfather, Mr. Toslin, as he was a rare one with the horses. He could make them do anything by just breathing secrets in their ears." Bogus went on with his sawing, and Tolly roamed around, his eyes getting used to the patchy light. He found other trapdoors which he could not lift, a whole row of them all along one side. One was broken and lay off its hinges beside the square hole. Underneath on the stable wall was the iron basket to hold hay, into which he climbed. He crouched there, trying to imagine that the stall was occupied by the warm, silky body of the horse. Feet stamping in straw, hind quarters fidgeting, tail swishing. and great rolling black eyes that it could see backwards and forwards at the same time, half covered by mane and forelock. He tried so passionately to imagine it, to see, hear and smell it, that the wonder is that no horse was there. "Over there? Master Toslin, what are you doing?" "I'm here," he answered, standing up so that his head stuck out of the hole. "Trust you to get into the haunted stall. Were you looking for Mr. Toby's horse by any chance? That stall's always kept empty in case he feels like spending a night there. Folks say you can hear him at night whinnying for the young master." "Which young master?" "Oh, don't ask me. I ain't no good at history. One of the young masters, same as you." "Have you heard him whinnying?" Bogus cocked a half-humorous, half-serious eye at him. "I tells you, I sleeps at home, and that's where I dreams." Toslin climbed over the hay-rack and let himself down into the manger. "You haven't put any hay for him," he said. "Ghosts don't eat hay, but they might like to pretend." The manger was empty. It was as big as a bed, and he could lie full length in it. In that position, running his fingers along the cracks, he found a loose piece of wood wedged under the ledge of the manger at the back. Just for the love of poking round, Toslin, with great difficulty, prized it out. On one side of it there was dirty paint. He rubbed it with his sleeve and saw there was red and white patterns on it. He licked his handkerchief and rubbed harder. Some letters appeared, very queer, spiky, spidery letters, not like print at all. "Mr. Bogus, look what I've found." Bogus came and peered through the trap-door. "Now then, don't you be taking anything from here. We don't want no souvenir hunting going on." Toslin put it down in the bottom of the manger. There ought to be hay, he thought. Of course, there ought to put hay. And then he remembered that he still had sugar that he had taken for the rocking horse. He put it carefully exactly in the middle of the manger and ran up the ladder to the loft. It was getting so dark that by the time Logus had lit the storm lantern to finish his sawing, the loft looked even more exciting by lamplight. But in another quarter of an hour, Bogus said it was tea time, time to go in. Toslin walked in front with the lantern, and they stepped from the stables into the shallow water and waded slowly towards the house. As they went under the big yew trees, the lantern lit up the underneath of the branches, making them look like rafters in wild magic houses. The windows of green Knowe were all lit up again. Tolly felt as if he had lived there always, instead of just one day. Mrs. Oldknowe was sitting in front of a tea tray by the fire just as before, when Tolly came in all dirty with bits of straw in his hair. "Well, I can see where you've been," she said. "Go and wash yourself and take the straw from your hair. Then come and tell me all about it. I can see you're bursting with questions."